Welcome to the Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place. Here to challenge you to think out of the box, your hosts, Felipe Mejia and Diego Corzo.
Right, alignment is everything. And I'm different than every other coach you're going to talk to, actually, and I'll tell you why. But my name is Jason Drees. I'm a performance coach. Just moved to Texas 2 months ago. I'm happily married to my wife, Alexis, who's starting a new acting academy here. And I've got 4 boys, ages 10, 8, 6, and 3. I've been a professional coach since 2013. I started out coaching for Tony Robbins. Prior to coaching, I was in sales. And pretty much every job I've had prior to that was sales. I was in technology sales, business to business, technology sales, B2B, B2C, did a lot of that stuff. Made the decision to had a question asked of me by my coach in 2012, said, have you ever thought about becoming a coach? And when I was asked that question, it was like being struck by lightning. My life changed in that moment. And I've been coaching full-time ever since. Definitely a struggle getting here. Definitely not the common path, leaving a good paying, what people will say is a good paying tech sales jobs that pays 150 to 170 a year. Most people don't leave those jobs to become a life coach that makes 35, right? So that's what I did. And I've started 5 or 6 different companies. One company my first company was, we developed race car driver cooling suits, believe it or not. Shirts and clothing that pumped cold water over race car drivers to keep them cool. But basically, that didn't work out. Went into coaching, worked for Tony Robbins for about 3.5 years, went on my own. And in 2019, my coaching revenue for my business was $120,000. So it was just me coaching by myself. In 2019, I did $120,000. In 2020, I did $1,070,000 in sales. And on August 1st of last year, I was the only person on my team. August 1st, 2020, I was the only person on the JDC team. Today, I've got 25 people on my team and 13 coaches, 13 of which are coaches. And I have figured out, at least to the best of my ability, how life works. And I show people how life works. I chased success for years and years and years. I literally went to work for Tony Robbins because I wanted to grind myself to success. And I had company after company after company fail. And I hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And in early 2019, I hit a wall and I quit because nothing was working. And then the next 30 days after I quit, after I had cried, after I said it's over, I'm going to go back to tech sales, everything started flowing. And it made my head explode. Like, how can everything be flowing when I quit? So the past 2 years since then is me discovering what I've been doing and really helping align people with success. Now, the question I think Diego threw out earlier was, how do you help people close and I will say I help people close the gap between where they are and where they want to be. That's what I used to say. And that's what I think my bio currently says. But the thing is, I don't help people go from A to B. I can't make you do anything. All I can do is help you realize what you really are. And the thing that I guess we could start this conversation with is that I don't help people create success. I don't. All I do is I help people remove their resistance to it. Because success is not the destination. Success is the starting point. When you start in success, that's where life's created. Because I'd love to say this is Jason's process, but it's not Jason's process. I have just figured out how life works. Have you ever noticed that life is responding to you? Right? We know life responds to us. Can I get some head shakes out there? For those that are on video, we know life responds to us, right? We know sometimes it responds great. Oh my God, a deal, another deal, another deal. Woohoo! And then it responds like, oh my God, this came under appraisal and the inspection failed and my funding fell through and I got a speeding ticket and I bumped my tool and I need a new crown. Like, right? Life is responding to you. And what I have discovered how to do is how to shape your life. We like to think that we can only control ourselves, which we can, but we work with life. And I help people get into alignment with life so success flows with more ease than ever before. That's what I really do. And the reason why what I'm talking about is radically different than what anybody else is talking about is because how many of you have studied personal growth? Who studied personal growth? Who's read the Tony Robbins book? Who's heard about those dang nabbit limiting beliefs? Who thinks their limiting beliefs are the problem, right? Those limiting beliefs. Wasn't for those limiting beliefs, everything would be great. And that's what most coaches talk about. But I'm gonna help you here. Okay, let me grab my piece of paper. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little draft here. I'm gonna show you how limiting beliefs are completely irrelevant. Okay, limiting beliefs are completely irrelevant, and this is the entire concept of my coaching. And I'd love to take credit for it, but I didn't create the universe. I just understand how it works. And it's funny sometimes that it's working so well that I kind of surprise myself and I kind of have to validate it. Does it really work that well? And then it works one-on-one and it works with groups of people. And I actually just finished the very first roughest draft of my book that's being printed. The book is called Do the Impossible. And that's actually kind of the process. So I'm going to help you with a little image here. Okay. So for example, that says subject, right? Subject. Subject is what you're working on. And all of you right now, all of you achievers, I'm going to label you achievers because you wouldn't be here at 8 o'clock in Central on a Thursday night if you weren't an achiever. Those of you trying to focus on the subject is that new deal, that money, that opportunity, whatever you're trying to focus, right? That's the subject. We think that's the problem, but the subject, if you've done a little bit of personal growth work, you know, there's this thing called mindset, right? Mindset is actually here and the subject is part of it. Okay. Now, when you're aiming at a target or you need to do some cold calling or lead generation and you don't like sales and you feel a negative emotion, they'll say, oh, you're feeling some negative beliefs about selling or negative beliefs about rejection or negative beliefs about not good enough. Those occur right here at the subject level, which is your indicator of misalignment. Okay. Indicator of misalignment. And this is how I coached for years. This is how Tony Robbins taught me to coach. Shift the mindset, change the limiting beliefs. Shift your mindset, change the limiting beliefs. But who here, number one, has changed their mindset and still not got the result? Right? I've had times where I coached 2 clients and both of those clients had limited financial mindsets. And I coached both of them the exact same way about their limiting beliefs and helped them shift their mindset around the limiting beliefs. And we had the same result on the coaching call. And over the next 90 days, the first client starts making more money. The second client, they did the exact same thing. Nothing changed. They're in the same place 90 days later. And for the longest time, I never knew why it worked on one person and not on the other. And this didn't come to me until last September is when I got this. The thing is, there's another piece to this equation. This other piece to the equation, I call your frame. You could call it your consciousness. You could call it your energy, your awareness. It's you. This is what life responds to. Life responds to your frame. The easiest way to know what your frame is, it's your expectations, right? How do you expect things work? Because isn't it true that most of your life, things end up like your expectations, don't they? So a lot of times we're working against our expectations. The way we think life works is we think life works like this: subject creates mindset, mindset creates frame creates reality. That's how we think it works. Does that make sense? Right? We think action down here creates your reality. It doesn't. Your frame creates your reality, which creates your mindset, which determines which thoughts you have and of motivation you'll have. And that determines if you take the right strategy and the right action to get the result, or the wrong strategy, the wrong action, the wrong result. And that's why what I do is different than every other coach out there, because nobody else is talking about this. So you are creating your reality. Now, the reason most people have trouble is because their social conditioning contradicts their knowing, their inner guidance, your intuition. Because we've got two guidance systems, right? We've got this thing, and then we've got this thing. We'll either hear heart or your gut, right? All of you are here on this call right now because there's a part of you screaming at you saying, you're destined for more than this. You're capable of more than this. You're worth more than this. You're going to do more than this. And you know something? It's not going to come from what you're doing now, so you have to do something different. That's why all of you are on this call right now. Does that make sense? Do you guys agree with that? Yeah? That part that's talking to you is your knowing. The part that contradicts it is your thinking. Your thinking is your social conditioning. It's your past experience. It's your upbringing. It's how you were parented. It's the schools you went to. It's all that shit on the TV we see, right? So there's this contradiction we have. The only thing I'm doing is I'm literally 2 steps more aligned than all of you. That's it. Even everybody in my community, I'm 2 steps ahead. This isn't light years. This is like literally I'm a step ahead. Because what people don't realize is that you are creating your reality. Who remembers in 7th grade science class when they said you're made of atoms, right? We're made of atoms, right? We're made of atoms, right? Remember what an atom looks like? It looks like a little planet, right? There's a little nucleus and there's a neutron and electron, right? It looks like a little planet with a moon. Do you remember when they said atoms are not solid, right? What percentage of solid is an atom? An atom is 99.9999% free space. That's scientific. So the percentage of our physical reality that's actual physical is 0.0001. Now that's really hard to comprehend. Really hard to comprehend because it doesn't make any sense. Like this feels hard, this feels hard, this feels hard, but we know scientifically it's not. The bottom line is it's energy. I'm energy, you're energy. And that energy of you is interacting with the energy of life. And wouldn't it make complete sense that life responds to you based on the frequency of you? Like when you look in the mirror, don't you know there's a part of you that never ages? When you look in the mirror, have you ever looked in the mirror and noticed there's a part of you inside you that never feels any older? Has anybody ever noticed that? That's because you're eternal. Just like I am. We may look differently next time around, but there's a part of us that never dies. There's a part of us that never ages. So I like to explore ideas. Can I prove any of this? No. But when I talk about it, I get excited and it changed people's lives. So you can explore this idea with me if you want, but this is the best way I know to help people get what they want because I'm basically teaching you what I did. Everything I'm sharing is what I basically do stuff and then I analyze it out of myself until I figure out how. And we've heard of that book called The Secret and the Law of Attraction. The problem with The Secret, the Law of Attraction, who's read The Secret or read the book or seen the movie? And how many of you are done? You're like, what were they talking about? Like they never told me how to do it, right? They're just like, there's this law of attraction and it's all this like thing. It's so hard because they're not saying what it is because they don't know how to communicate it any differently. You could be looking at Abraham Hicks. She talks a lot about law of attraction. Joe Dispenza does creation and attraction. What I've found out how to do is how to actually put it into use. Now, law of attraction isn't let's sit under a tree with our hands out and stuff falls in our lap, because that's not how life works. The reason you're here right now is for the process of creation. You're here for the process of life. And as much as we hate it, we're in the process of life in slow motion, right? That's what human life is. Creation in slow motion. What people don't realize is that when you get your frame, your frame is basically the frequency of you that you direct with your consciousness. What people don't realize is when your frame gets aligned with the target, you will start generating new thoughts, new ideas, new motivation that will compel you to take action. It's not manifest and have like the FedEx guy drop it off. It's not like that, because it's all about the journey. It's all about the process. But what happens with a lot of people, which we're all conditioned, we're watching everybody on TV and people down the street, and we see all this stuff, and we look at our bank account, or we look at our relationship, or we look at our partner, or we look at our body, or we look at our house, and we're not happy. We want to change it. What we don't realize is that every one of you in this room is one, not even a second, less than a second, a moment. You're a moment away from a new idea, a new connection, or a new opportunity that changes your life forever. One moment. The only reason you may not be, if you're not experiencing that, the only reason that you're not is because you're in a frame where it can't show up. Because most people are in reaction to their present life situation. Your life situation in this moment is what it is. Most people wake up and go, this sucks, or I hate my job, or this isn't good. There's a reaction, right? And that reaction is human nature. We can't stop that, right? It's automatic. You have the reaction. But most people are living a life of reaction and not a life of creation. Because the present moment is the result of the past. The present moment is not the indicator of the future. The present moment, everything in your present moment right now is from everything that happened prior to now. And all that stuff that we carry around, and maybe you judged yourself because you were a butthead to somebody 10 years ago. Like, we all have that. But this is this interwoven tapestry of life. And for all we know, you acted like a dickhead to that person 10 years ago because that person needed that experience for their life to transform. And you guys were buddies in the spirit world. You decided, yeah, I'll be a dickhead to you in my 20s. Sure. Will you give me that lesson? Yeah. Like, we don't know. So we end up in this reaction to where we are, and we're in self-judgment, because we're also going through the integration of ego and mind that's collectively happening in the planet. We're all awakening up. So there's this worthiness and all of that comes up. So we end up living a life of reaction to the present moment instead of creating our future. Because there's all this stuff. We're like, not good enough is the core of the human condition. That's what it is. Not good enough. You give me any person on the planet, and I could ask them enough questions that eventually they would feel like shit and feel not good enough, because not good enough is the core of duality. If you've heard the term, we're born into duality. We've got a mind that competes and wants, and we've got a heart that loves everything. And we're going through the integration of those. And if you look at what's happening in society, in our major institutions, collectively, the world is in cuckoo land right now because it's all going through the integration as well. All of the mind-based systems, education, government, healthcare, finance, that serve a very small number of people, all of that corruption and self-service isn't going to exist anymore. And we're going through the integration of that. So you're going through that integration experience individually and collectively. But what people don't realize is that you are an infinite being. And what I mean by that is there's no limit to what you can learn. There's no limit to what you can do. There's no limit to what you can impact. You could learn anything. You could be anything. You could do anything. There's this eternal being that doesn't age, can learn anything. And every day you're alive you're more than you were yesterday. Tomorrow, you'll be more than you are today. And you have the ability with your focus to change your frame, which technically is your frequency, but frame is almost easier to imagine because your frame creates your mindset, which creates your motivation, your new ideas, which creates your subject aligned or misaligned limiting beliefs. And that's why I don't spend any time. You're in overwhelm. You're feeling overwhelmed. You think overwhelm is bad? Overwhelm is good. That means you're about to increase your capacity because you've created more success than your mindset can manage. We're conditioned to think that these negative emotions are bad, but the negative emotions aren't bad. The negative emotions are just symptoms of misalignment. You're an infinite being creating your reality. That's why, how could I possibly help you create success? I can't. You're an infinite freaking being, just like I am, living in an attraction-based universe. And for those of you who remember science class, and you're probably going to start crying, Patrick, is because you're starting to get connected with the real you. Anytime you talk to the real you, you're going to feel alive again because we're wired to avoid pain. We're wired to avoid, to seek comfort. It's in our mammalian survival system, but we were born to be great. And the great journey to greatness is a lonely journey. It's a sad and lonely journey. And when you start going to greatness, nobody will ever understand you. I know, I've been through it. I tried something new. I tried something scary. I couldn't believe I did it. I looked around. I said, hey, everybody, look what I did. And no one even noticed. And I got hooked. So I did it, went even bigger. And I aimed even higher. And I went again. And I did something even bigger, something even scarier. And I hit it, was more successful. And I go, oh my God, look at me, everybody. And everybody said, well, why are you doing that? Don't do that. Come back down here with us. Because when you do that, you make me feel bad for me settling my life right here. And at that point, I couldn't stop. And this wasn't some magical journey the whole way. I remember being on a coaching call, my wife calling me crying because our credit card was declined at the store and someone else had to buy us groceries. And she didn't have enough of the WIC food assistance checks from the state because we were on food assistance in 2013 and 2014 because I wasn't making enough money following my passion. And people are like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? But I couldn't stop. And that was like one of the most humiliating things I've ever experienced was when my wife called me and said the woman in line bought our family groceries. It's one of the reasons I always carry at least $100 in my wallet every time, minimum. I like to carry around $100 bills because if I ever see families with those WIC food checks, I go over and I hand it to them. So I kept going and I'm like, I kept going and I kept going. And finally I stopped looking around to see who was watching. And when I stopped to look around who's watching, I started to feel the feeling of self-satisfaction at an intensity I've never felt my entire life. And in that moment, nothing external would ever feel as good as the knowledge of self-satisfaction, knowing I gave it everything I could. And like in that moment, I realized that external acknowledgement no longer mattered for me. Coincidentally, in that moment, I noticed I was getting tons and tons of external acknowledgement because that's when you get the validation at the acknowledgement, when you no longer need it. And the hardest thing we have to do is to follow our unique path. Your unique path, you are on this planet to be the unique expression of you. You're not on this planet to be a duplication of someone else. Like for most people would say, hey, you've got a good job. You're making 6 figures. You're taking care of your family. Why would you become a life coach who doesn't make any money? It's funny. I talk about people think I'm a success coach. But when I talk to people, I sneak up on them and change their entire life. That's what I do. And that's my gift. Because the thing you need to understand is that there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You are the perfect incarnation of the divine being that you are. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you on a unique journey in life to contribute your natural gifts to the world. And the only thing stopping you from having everything you want is you. Because I will tell you, this is the formula for success. You ready? Here's the formula for success. Number one, move into a frame that's aligned with what you want. Okay? Move into a frame that's aligned. Number two, follow the process of life. Number three, get the result. Sounds oversimplified. What do you mean follow the process of life? How am I supposed to follow the process of life? That sounds crazy. I've been trying to follow the process of life for however many decades. Oh, follow the process of life? How am I supposed to do that? Well, you have a guidance system that gives you emotions that you like and dislike and love and hate, and you're excited. Oh, you're supposed to listen to those? Yes. It's your guidance system. You want to follow things that you're certain about and are excited about and you're happy about. That's life screaming at you. So I don't help people create success. All I do is help people remove their resistance to being successful. That's all I do.
And you do that by aligning them to being open to reframing what they think is stopping them from achieving their success?
Is that a statement or a question?
It's a question. Like, yeah.
Well, it's an alignment with life, right? And an alignment with yourself. Like, there is a process of life. I could, if I wanted to, bring myself into full alignment with becoming a billionaire. I could be perfectly aligned with becoming a billionaire. Step two, the process of life could still take 20 years. Now, I could also choose that I love shoes and I'm going to become the #1 shoemaker in the world. And I could set out and spend all my time and expertise learning how to make shoes. And I could just pour myself for the next 20 years into mastering making shoes and becoming an amazing designer of shoes. And I could become a top 10 designer of shoes in the world. But if was destined to become the #1 handbag maker in the world, there's no way I'm ever going to become the #1 shoemaker in the world. So you are guided when you follow. Now you have the ability to create whatever reality you want. You can create great results. But if you want the ridiculous, oh my God, this is insane results, that's where you follow your own path. Most people aren't following that because they're questioning their knowing. They're questioning their internal guidance because it doesn't fit their past narrative or what they believe is true. So people end up aiming at lower targets. The reason why I call what I do is doing the impossible, because the target, Mike, I aim clients at is the impossible target. Not what do you want, not what is possible, aim at what is impossible. Because if you're chasing the targets that someone else says you have, or you're not inspired by your targets, or your target doesn't scare you a little bit, then you're aiming in the wrong place. When you aim at the impossible target, you will transform. It will transform you. It will change you. It will shift you. But if you're not willing to take the shift or walk the process of life or be pushed to your limits, then it'll never happen.
That's insane. Jason, and how do you know what the right frame is? You're talking about like letting like the universe guide you and all. Kind of, yeah, it's interesting.
You know you're in the right frame when you feel certainty and confidence. That's how. Because when you are certain, your frame is giving the universe or life or God or whatever you want to call it a clear frequency. The more certain your frame is, the more clear it is. So it's certainty. Watch, I'll show you guys how to frame shift right now. So can you get a sense of a future version of you? Just imagine a version of you from the future. Can you get a sense? And when I say get a sense, I'm not saying visualize. What I mean by get a sense, I'm saying like, when you're like at the grocery store and you know someone's looking at you, but you're not looking, like that feeling, that's what I mean. Can you get a sense of that version of you? I always use my left hand because when I do this, for me, it feels like it's on the left. Can you get a sense of a future version of you any time in the future? Can you get a sense of a future version of you that understands what I'm talking about? Can you get a sense of a future version of you that's hearing everything I'm hearing, but it's almost like you're remembering it at the same time? Can you get a sense of a future version of you that knows what this perspective of operation so well that you can teach other people it? Can you know that? Can you get a sense of that version? Yeah. It's still there, right? It's subtle. Feel it? Notice how we're not talking about how. Can you get a sense of a future version of you that knows an impossible target you can hit in the next 6 months is? Can you get a sense of a future version of you that's grinning ear to ear because you know you can hit it? Hold your awareness on that version, like for 10 seconds. And how are you feeling now? Like, how are you feeling in your body? Somebody tell me, or type in the chat.
It's like confident, happy.
Empowered.
Confident, happy, empowered. What else? Anybody feeling lighter? Calm.
Calm for sure. And then lighter. Yeah, 100%.
Relieved. Because what we just did right there, that's what I call frame shifting. That's one way to frame shift. And so remember we talked about you are, and the reason you can feel that is because when you, the being, shifts frequencies, you can feel it in your body. Or if we say, like, when you grow past your comfort zone, you feel it, right? When you're outgrowing one frame, you feel it to the next one. Because what actually happened there is, remember I said every day you're alive is the most you've ever been. Today you're here, tomorrow you'll be here, the next day, because every day you're alive, you have more life experience, more energy has gone through. So every day you're more than you were before. Does that make sense? That simple? Yeah? Okay. Now, we've all had those experiences where we're just going about our day, and for whatever reason, we remember being a butthead or dickhead when we were 25 years old, and we go back and we judge our behavior and go, oh my God, I wish I could go back. And you can't, because that relationship is so burned to the ground. You could never even go back. You want to. And in that moment, you're literally going into the old frame and literally going into the old experience. We've all done that. The second thing, so that's going backwards, right? What I just showed you, frame shifting, was the exact same thing, but reverse. We're going to an elevated frame that you haven't been yet. And when you go to an elevated frame, or a frame that's a higher frequency than where you are, you will feel calm, lighter, focused. Your level of certainty will increase. So the way to get everything you want is to start in this place where it's already happened. Success is a starting point, not a destination. And that's where most people get it wrong, because you're creating all of this. So all you have to do is get yourself in alignment. And the thing is, we think you may have this call today and say, oh my God, I was feeling great today. And tomorrow you wake up and you remember a third time from when I was 25. Oh man, I was terrible. And you remember a third time tomorrow. And you may go, oh my God, I'm regressing. What happened? Because yesterday I felt so high and today I feel so low. That's part of the process too. Because you are energy. And for you to go to a higher level, you have to integrate and a lot of people talk about releasing and letting go. And I used to do it myself, but I don't do that anymore. It's not about releasing the lower energy stuff from your past. It's about integrating it. So if you wake up tomorrow or 4 days and you feel like you're regressing, like, what happened? I've been doing coaching for 4 years and all of a sudden I feel like I know nothing. What that is life bringing you back down to integrate a piece that you need to move to the next level. So those feelings about past times that didn't feel that well, is not regression, it's deeper integration.
Jason, and with that, you're like supposed to let that happen then? Because I feel like sometimes when that happens to me, it's like, I don't know.
Here's what you do. Here's what you do. And it happens in phases. Like there was a period and I see it happen in clients. Like, and for me, it was the end of 2019. There was this 4-week period where it happened nonstop, just these random memories. So here's what you do if you have that experience. I'm feeling great. And all of a sudden you think about an old memory. You say this magic word statement. Oh, that's interesting. You stay present. I do this. I move my fingers. I wiggle my toes. Everybody do that. Wiggle your fingers, squeeze your toes together, because that brings you into your body, right? You can only go back in the fold frequency if you focus your energy. But if you're present, it doesn't work. So I'll do this, move my fingers, tap my fingers a little bit. That pulls you really present. And then when you have that old memory, you go, oh, that's interesting. And you just take a few deep breaths. And it's integrated just like that. That's it. But what most people do is they usually react to it. And they're frustrated by it, so they're trying to resolve it. But instead of integrating it, they're actually using their consciousness to throw more energy at it and amplify that old frame. So you say, oh, that's interesting. Because while the universe is mathematical, we know it's mathematical, right? We've all done science. Remember in science class, 2 particles in space, if unacted on by outside forces, will be attracted to each other, right? So it's mathematical. Mathematical has nothing to do with merit or worthiness or hard work or time in. It's irrelevant. That's a human thing. So we're in a mathematical universe. If you are in frequency alignment, if you are frame alignment with the target, you will get it 100%, because that's how the universe works. And you are on an emotional journey as a human being in a mathematical universe. So we think there's all this worth and merit and other stuff, and we look around and say, well, how did you do it? So you'll look at other people and say, how do they do it? Oh, let's talk to him. That person's really successful. And this person will say, oh, well, I woke up at 4 a.m. I took cold showers. I ate Brussels sprouts with maple syrup, and I kicked myself in the balls twice every morning. And then pretty soon you're going to see these Facebook groups about the ball kickers who kick themselves in the balls. And then there's going to be women who put them in their pants to kick themselves in the balls because they think that's the formula for success. But it's not. They just heard someone else do it. I always use that example because I think it's so funny, right? Well, I don't hit myself in the balls twice a day. I did 10 times a day because I want to be 10 times as successful. That's what my past feels like. But the thing is, those people who are super successful, they can't tell you how they did it because they don't know. So all they do is tell you their habits. They don't know. They would tell you, they would tell you, but they're going to tell you their habits. And that's why you see, so we're conditioned to think that hard work creates success. Who's here thinks hard work creates success? Right? Hard work creates success, right? Hey, that's been in me before. But the problem is, if you believe hard work creates success, you also believe the inverse of that is true, meaning you can't have success without hard work. Because the inverse is, you're literally creating your reality at such an accelerated rate. I'm literally just like everything is that. If you, like, I have one client, and other thing that people get caught up with is their old models of success. How many of you have talked to a mentor or been to a seminar and they're like, how were you successful before? I woke up at 5 a.m. and I worked out. Okay, then wake up at 5 a.m., right? Because people will use their old models of success. The problem with old models of success is the inverse of that model is true. So if you believe that getting up at 5 a.m. will make you successful, you also believe not getting up at 5 a.m. will make you not successful. Because anything can happen in the next moment. Anything. And the number one showstopper of everything is financial mindset. The number one. If I trace my financial path, if I trace my success is directly mapped to my financial success. So let's imagine this. You're walking down the street tomorrow. You're walking down the street. This gentleman walks up to you and goes, you know something? How are you doing? I'm really good at reading people, and I can tell you are a good-hearted person. I have $100,000 in cash here. I'm a billionaire. I have more than I can use. I want to give it to you. How many of you, your first reaction is to take it? And how many of you, your first reaction is to not take it? How many of you say, oh, cool, free money? Or how many of you are like, what's the catch? I can't take that. Right? Where does money come from? We like to think we make money, but we don't. If we made money, we would be in jail. We're not allowed to print money. You ready for your head to pop? Money comes from other people. The only time you get money is when someone gives it to you. That's the only time. That's the only place it comes from. So if you're not willing to accept it, how are you ever going to have it? Let's flip that for a second. Let's imagine that you had billions of dollars. Like, just pretend you had more money, you had billions of dollars, and after you bought everything under the sun for 6 months and got bored, you'd then go to your family and friends and coworkers and try to give it to them, right? Do you think they would accept it? You all have that one friend or family member that even if you had $1 bazillion, they just wouldn't accept it because their pride, right? Money is so loaded. It's so loaded. If you want to really create a lot of success, you have to be open to success happening. And the number one way to be open to success happening is knowing and believing and choosing to believe and understand that anything can happen in the next moment. And the past is an indicator of nothing. The present is not an indicator of the future. The present is a result of the past. And in the next moment, anything can happen. You're literally one moment away from an amazing idea or a connection or opportunity that changes your life. But most people don't see that because they're spending all their time telling themselves what they don't have and what they can't do. And in order to do it, they have to do this. So there's all these rules about how success has to work and how money has to work. That's literally blocking them from get what they want. And they're literally going in circles, just wasting their life. So let's expand our money mindset. Just imagine how much money you make a month right now. Put that number in your head. Think about what you believe about money now. Is it easy? Is it hard to get? You got to work for it? Like, what comes up? What do you believe about making money? It's a tool. It's never enough. Rosa says it's infinite. She's so ahead of us. I'm just kidding, Rosa. It is infinite. There's no limit to how much you make. Everyone has it. It's infinite. Okay. We know that some of you are already catching on, but tell me the negative stuff about money that's coming up. Yeah, it's easy to disappear. Call it out. You have to work really hard. Lots of long nights. Call it out. What else? Money is what? It's hard to get. Hard to get, easy to lose. You get what you put in. Yes. Dirty. Yes. Right? Don't avoid looking at those thoughts because it's part of your subconscious mind. It's part of your conditioning. It's stressful, hard to manage. Until you work on that, unless you were raised by an extremely wealthy family with a really strong financial mindset, all of us have this in some level. So let's imagine that's what you believe about money now. Now, as easily as you can, think about how much money you make per month and add 2 zeros to it. If you make $5,000 a month, you now make $500,000 a month. Think about your monthly income. Imagine your paycheck or however you get paid. Imagine looking at your bank account and noticing 2 more zeros in there. Imagine what that'd be like. Imagine going to the store and you're out there, oh my God, and you go on Amazon late at night, you bought a bunch, you're like, I just spent all that. And the next morning you look at it, your bank account hasn't been phased because it has 2 extra zeros. What would you believe about money now? Never ends. It's meant to be spent. It's nothing. It's easy. It's easy to come by. Sebastian still thinks it's still dirty. Attainable. Money never sleeps. It's a beautiful thing. Are you noticing the beliefs are starting to lighten up here? Right? Now, let's do this exercise one more time. Let's add 4 zeros behind your monthly income. If you make $5,000 a month, you now make 50, 500, 50 million. Is that 4 zeros? 50, 500, 5. Now if you made $5,000 a month more, now you make $50 million a month. Imagine you made $50 million a month. Imagine if you made $50 million a day. If you made $50 million a day, what would you believe about money? What would you believe about money then? I can change the world. Would you still believe it's hard to get? If you do this exercise and you add enough zeros, you get to the point where money is just like air. It's like water. It's just infinite, which is actually the truth. Money is energy. There's no limit to it. There's an infinite supply. Like there can be a company that does not exist today, and tomorrow that company exists and is worth billions of dollars. Like money can happen in a second, and it's all in your head. And what this really is, money is equal to the frequency of life you're living in. That's why people who make more money continue to make more money. It's because they're in a frequency of life aligned with it. And when you're at a higher financial frequency mindset, you'll have better ideas and make better connections. If you ask me about money, money to me feels like, how much money do I have? I feel like I have an infinite amount. And I feel like there's the amount that's in my bank account in this specific moment is just the representation of the money that's in my bank account at this moment. It doesn't have nothing to do with how much money I have. I operate from the frame was when money comes out, more comes in. If you want an interesting story, go check my Instagram and read the boat hoist story. I'm not going to tell you that now because it's a 10-minute story. But in the past 3 weeks, and I'm buying a house in 4 months. We live in Austin, Texas, and we moved here. We rented because it's all we could get when we moved here from California with my superstar up there. And we're going to buy a house. And the houses we're probably going to look at are probably going to be $2 million. Why? Because I have 4 kids and I don't want to live in a small house. So, and 3 weeks ago, I bought a new boat. Bought a new 25-foot Malibu boat, 2022. And I bought this boat hoist in this parking space at Lake Travis because the universe was telling me to buy this Lake Travis, this boat hoist at a slip, which I didn't think I needed, but I was excited about. And I was curious, why am I so excited about this? And I don't know. So I bought it. And I was like, and then I woke up in the middle of the night. And I'm like, what am I doing? I just spent like $8,000 on a parking space for my boat. I just bought a boat, and Malibu boats are 6-figure boats. They're not cheap. And I'm buying a house in 4 months. Like, who does this? What am I doing? And then I realized if I didn't buy the boat because I wanted to buy the house, it would mean I'm living in a frame of scarcity, because that would imply there isn't enough money for me to buy the house and get the down payment. And I would rather live in a cardboard box with my family than live in a frame of scarcity. So I bought the boat. And in the past 3 weeks, I came up with 2 new ideas for Jason Drees coaching. And those 2 new ideas are going to triple the revenue of the business within 4 months. And it all happened because I bought a boat hoist. Like that was the trigger. That was the trigger. Like literally, go to Instagram and I'll watch the story, because I wasn't thinking about expanding. Earlier this year, the sales number started to drop at the end of Q1 for Jason Drees coaching. And I could have started to freak out. Oh no, it's going down. I could have went into scarcity, but I recognize that I'm following the process of life. And sometimes life takes us in directions we don't want to go, even though that's the direction we need. Because if sales would have been continuing, I wouldn't have put more effort into growing the other parts of the business and growing the social media and writing my book and all that other stuff, because I wouldn't have needed to. But life needed to give me the kicker to do that. So even though it went down, it was part of my process. So I went and explored as the revenue was going down, and I had to be down here for a little bit to get the focus in the other area that was going to explode the business after the fact. Just like you're going to a meeting, you're going to lunch, or you're going to work, and work it normally takes you 10 minutes to drive to work. But the next day you're driving to work, you get stuck in traffic, somebody breaks down, they literally jam your car on the freeway and you can't move your car for like a minute. Then you hit all the stoplights and it takes you 40 minutes to get to work, and you're pissed off on why you're so late. and you had to take this strange detour and you were pissed off, you're 40 minutes late, but as you took that strange detour you never took before, that you only took because you had that traffic jam that had to force you off the freeway, you then found this real estate property that was off the market that's going to make you $200,000 in a month. We sometimes react to the process of life when life is actually giving you what you want.
Are there questions that you ask yourself to start that process, to basically be like, okay, these are the questions that I need to ask myself now to understand why certain things happen in your life, to understand that you're following the process of life?
Are there questions I ask myself to understand that? Is that what you're saying?
So when, let's say when the sales went down, like, was there questions that led you to be like, okay, why is this happening? Like, what part of the process of life do I need to understand now to get to that?
Well, I started having emotional reactions of scarcity. I was having emotional reactions of scarcity. And I was like, wait a second. I dealt with financial mindset beliefs. Like, for the past 6 years, all I did was lift financial mindset beliefs. And I realized that when that limiting belief of that financial scarcity feeling came up, it wasn't because I have some limited belief. It was coming up to redirect my awareness to a new area. Because I was operating in the frame of knowing that I just 10x my business. I'm going to 10x it again. This is growing and expanding. It's impacting people. But really, besides impacting people and making money, I'm having so much fun. I love doing this. I can't stop doing this. The more I talk about this, the more it fills me with excitement. So I knew that I'm going to be successful. So I knew that I'm like, it can't be going down. So it got my attention to focus me. Well, what else does the business need right now? What's the next step? And because of the downturn, it took my focus in a different direction that is eventually going to get it to that higher level result I wanted that I didn't know how to get to.
It's great what you're saying. And that means you said we don't have to calculate risk. So you go all in where you believe in, where you make you happy, and what you think is your path. But what about when there's risk involved? Like sometimes you're scared to do it, but you don't know if because it's good or not.
We all have strengths and we all have soft spots, and all our personalities are different. Although personalities are in general the same, there's just different styles. Some styles are more concerned about risk than others. In general, risk doesn't come up to me. I'm like, I jump off first and figure out. That's my nature. But being a more conservative nature is no different. Now, I'm still doing the same thing. What happens for a person specifically like me is I have problems in areas where you don't, because your strengths are probably opposite mine. Your disc profile is probably opposite of mine. But what I would say is that that's the balance you have to figure out, right? Like this looks like I did this overnight. I've been screwing up and failing for 15 years. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad in like 2003. I actually went to Dolph DeRue's real estate seminar in like 2007. And I'm like, I'm going to be a real estate investor. Oh, Diego, remember Dolph DeRue? The Australian guy. But that's part of it. Like, but a lot of times we perceive it as risk because of how it feels. So number one, let's just move into a frame and make a decision that to the best of our ability, we're not going to make bad decisions. Okay. Let's just say that. And I'll tell all of you, don't make a bad decision. No, if it's dumb, don't do it. Right. But I'll be really curious about, are you making is it a bad decision? Or is it just causing more growth in you faster than you wanted? And your brain is interpreting that as fear. So a great question to ask yourself if you're looking at an opportunity. Now, number one, with real estate, if you guys are all real estate investors, which I'm guessing you are, if you guys are real estate investors, you cannot outplan risk of real estate. You can't. It's like gambling. It's like going to Vegas. It just is. Like the way you get around that in real estate, you make a decision on how much you're willing to lose. What's your risk? Because if you're trying to create perfection in a real estate deal, you can't. It's impossible. So you need to, number one, decide what your risk measure is. Like, okay, I'm willing to lose $20,000, and then I'm going to go look for deals where if it all goes south, I'm only going to lose 20. So define what your risk is. That's smart investment strategy, right? But then once you're looking at deals, if you're not sure if a deal is right, one way I like to think to determine if it's intuition saying don't do that, or it's just the feeling of expansion, is to ask myself, if success was guaranteed and I could not fail, would I still do it? Because when you're looking at new opportunities, if success is guaranteed and you would not fail, if you still feel bad about it after, that's your intuition. But if you remove the risk of failure by guaranteeing success, then it's probably the expansion. Because what actually happened to me in the past 3 weeks is like the boat hoist opportunity was my chance to go from this financial frame to this financial frame. In 3 weeks, I just doubled my income. In 3 weeks. You could do that too. It's like, and that happens because I'm in a frame where it can. I'm just sitting here going, what's going to happen in life? Anything can happen in life. Anything can happen next. Let's see what happens next. Because I already hit 10x growth in 4 months. And I was like, I didn't think that could happen. And I went back, and if you gave me a magic wand last summer, I could not have come up with a better target than what actually happened. So I don't know if you call life or you call God or whatever you call. They created so much more amazing than I can. I'm just getting out of the way. That's why I don't even set goals. They just feel too limiting to me. But if you are the person who likes to be, if you're stuck in perfection, if you're stuck in analysis paralysis, you're aiming at a target you can't control. I've coached so many real estate investors, and especially the high C's and the detail-oriented, the process ones. You cannot out-calculate the risk. You can't. When you go play basketball, you can get an elbow in the face, or you can sit on the sideline worrying about getting elbowed in the face, or you can get in there and take an elbow. If you get an elbow, wipe your nose and keep going. So you want to get an elbow in the face, or do you want to feel the regret of not getting in the game? Get in the game. Nothing can happen until you're in the game.
So I feel like, I don't know if I would call it a frame or mindset, but I'm torn between, I have one mindset where it's I'm going to kill it and just crush it. I have grown a lot from the past year, but there is also a mindset which is oh, okay, you've done a lot. You need to relax. So hold on, ease it a little bit. So I in the past year, my goal was to maybe have 1, 2, or 3 units. I'm at 8 right now. But now that I'm at the 8th spot, my other mindset is telling me, oh, okay, you overachieved, so calm down. And one side is no, you have to grow to 20 or 30 or 40. So I'm just stuck in between that. What would be your suggestion?
You think you're stuck?
I don't know. I'm just fighting in between this, because I do have a growth mindset, but I also feel I have achieved a lot and I need to calm down.
Is that your mom or your dad's voice in your ear saying you're good enough, take it easy, play safe? Or somebody else's?
I don't know. I have seen people fail, obviously. So it's, yeah, I think it's the conditioning as well.
So I'm sorry, Diego.
One thing that I would like to say, because I know Gaurav, and he's mentioned in the past, for example, that if he compares himself to his whole family in India, for example, he is quote unquote the most successful, if we're talking real estate or wealth or whatever. So he's sort of has hit that with his family. So I just want to drop that in there because I know Gaurav. And
I'm extremely intuitive and empathic, so that's why I picked up on that. So, like all of you are. So it's basically the conditioning versus your screaming desire for life. So you get to choose. There is no wrong answer. And from the right and from the level of a perspective of infinite beings going through a unique experience of life, there's nothing that anybody ever does is wrong, because it's all their journey in life. And you can stay here. You can go bigger. But I would ask you, if you stay at this level for another 10 years, how are you going to feel?
Not good at all.
And when you break free from everyone around you and you start to go to the world of greatness, everyone is not going to understand, or they're not going to see you. And that's when, you know, my parents have no idea what I do. Like, none. My sister has no idea. Like, I literally changed people's lives in like a phone call, and my parents just have no idea what I do. They just can't, they literally can't even understand me. Neither can my sister. So, though they may never see you for who you really are, I can see you for who you really are. The people in this group can see you for who you really are. So I would encourage you to double down on what you believe and what you want, because what you want is what you want. Like, we're socially conditioned to think what we want is bad. Like, why? Why? So you want to buy a $50,000 car or $200,000 boat? Who cares? Go for it. Why? Experience life. Experience life. I actually have been re-evaluating my financial beliefs because I've been making more money than I have. You know, and I didn't start making, you know, really good money until about a year and a half ago. And I was just buying a lot of stuff. Why? Because I can. And I started like, no, you can't buy that. I'm like, well, why can't I buy that? I'm living in a unlimited abundance. The stuff's just more I spend, the more comes in. And actually, when I spend something, I'm helping other people because it's injecting its living life. So I'm just letting go of all the beliefs around spending, because like, why would I ever want to live a life of limitation? And the more free the stronger and more certain I get, the stronger my ability to create it gets. And the stronger and more proof I get that this works, the stronger my results get. Because as my certainty gets stronger and stronger and stronger, my results get stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's real. And what I'm seeing in clients is really, it's really how fast can you allow the growth that is required to receive that result? Because who you are in this moment has the results you have now. You with a zero behind it is an evolved version of you that's more open, that's lighter, more focused. And how open are you to becoming that person? The enemy is the social conditioning. If you ever want to know what your social conditioning is, ask yourself, what does everyone else think I should do? Or what do they say I should do? That's your conditioning. Throw that out the window. But don't make bad decisions, right?
Yes.
Be smart.
Thank you
Be
so
smart.
much.
Be smart. You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much. Thank you so much for your
That was
wisdom.
amazing.
Our paths will cross very soon. Yes.
All right. So it is 9:15, and I want to make sure that we respect Jason's time. So, Jason, how are we doing on time? Because
I could do another 15 minutes. As you can tell, I could talk about this all day. So
I know. So that's why I just want to make sure that we respect your time. But really quick, if they want to get to learn more about you, what you have going on, I know you have an event in August here in Austin.
Yes.
Are you sold out, or is there an opportunity?
There isn't. Tickets have not gone on sale yet. Okay. So number one, my book, we're going to have advanced copies of my book, Do the Impossible, at the live event. The live event is September 16th to the 19th, 4 days. And I'm basically going to be doing Thursdays like Arrival Day, Friday and Saturday, I'm on stage all day. And then Sunday's a community day. Currently in the JDC community, because I also have a client community built in with all my clients. There's about 450 people in that community. So the live event tickets are going to go on sale probably the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to be delivering like basically the book live for 2 days. And I also do a Mindset Academy, which is a program with one call a week. You can find out about on my website, Jason Drees Coaching, or Instagram. All the links are there. And I'm also going to do a 3-day intensive in Austin at the end of the event for 20 people. I'm going to put 20 people in a room for 3 days with me and 3 coaches. So that would probably be by application. And then I'm also going to do, I realized that I love Mexico, and we went for New Year's last year, and I'm like, let's do an event down there. So we're going to do a 2022 kickoff event in Playa del Carmen. So
and we'll put all links and stuff, guys, for the Jason Drees coaching in the chat as well.
Yeah. I don't have a link for the event yet, but I'll get you a link, and I'll get you guys a discount code if you sign up in the month of July.
Love it.
For this group.
Okay.
Thanks
and do
so
you
much.
have a pre-order for your book yet, or?
No pre-orders yet. No, if you go to the event, you're going to get a copy.
Okay.
It'll actually be an advanced draft, and then the official copy, I'm working with the publisher right now, is probably going to be Q4 that comes out.
And last question before we continue for the next 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in town in Austin December 11th or December 10th?
I don't know. Probably.
Okay. I'll reach out.
Okay.
I'll reach out.
You want to buy me dinner?
I will, all of Rat Race will buy you dinner in December. We're planning something here in Austin.
Okay. That's a week before my birthday. So yeah, we can do that. Sure.
Okay, cool. This is awesome. All right, sorry. Moving on. We'll do 2 questions, and I will end this at 9:30 to respect Jason's time, because it has been amazing so far. Anybody have any questions or anything to share?
I think everyone's just in awe from everything that they've heard. They're trying to process.
There's 73 people.
Okay, Nadia has a question. Go ahead, Nadia.
Hi there. Hi, Jason. Thank you so much
Nadia.
for this. This has really been amazing. You mentioned earlier that when Gaurav asked his question, and you mentioned that your family also doesn't know what you do and the impact you have. I'm wondering, is that a conscious decision because you purposely don't want their opinion to influence your next thought or, whatever that it may be?
I stopped talking to them about things they don't understand.
Okay.
I wanted them to for a long time. Because when you start on your journey to greatness, you want everybody to follow you and support you. And it was during that process that I got ignored, and then I got ridiculed, and I got questioned, like, what are you doing? My brother-in-law, literally, my wife's brother, called me up and like accused me of being a failure in life, and like, what are you doing? You're not taking care of my family. I'm gonna have to raise your kids for you and stuff like that. So those around you don't understand.
Yeah.
And I don't have those conversations with them now because they can't understand it. And what the conversation we're having right now, how many of you notice like your head feels like it's exploded?
Yeah.
Because this conversation we're having is an extremely high level of consciousness. It's a high level consciousness conversation. The interesting thing, one of my gifts is bringing people to my level very easily. That's what I'm good at with my energy, with the way I speak intuitively. And my gift is bringing people to my energy so they can see my perspectives. The fun thing that's interesting is I remember having a conversation with my mom, and I said something to her about this because she was talking about some problems she has. And I started talking to her about this, and they were plain, basic English words, but it was a high level consciousness conversation. And because she wasn't operating at that level of conversation, she couldn't even hear the words at all. It's like I didn't even say them, and she was a foot away from me. And it was the weirdest thing. And that's what later I realized she couldn't hear me. When I first started to change beliefs by taking ownership of them, shifting them, when I was on the Tony Robbins coaching team in 2014, I tried to tell all the other coaches around me what I was doing, and nobody could hear me because I was at another frequency. So I stopped trying to pull them in because it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And I realized that people can only meet you if I'm operating here and they're operating here, and the stuff I'm passionate about is here, they're never going to see it. So they can only meet you as deeply as they meet themselves.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think from the comments, like a lot of people feel that way, that people around them don't hear or see where they're trying to get to. And then maybe that, I know for me, that causes me to doubt what I'm about to do next or thinking about doing next. I was just remembering a past experience as you were talking. It made me so emotional because, you know, I felt that, but I still went with my gut and I did what I did. And I'm really glad that I did that. So, yeah.
Yeah. They you know, they don't understand. Like there's, in this group, you can be open, right? You could talk about what you're going on. Like in my community, the clients can talk to each other about what's going on, but it's almost like, you know, it's almost like the rest of the world is just background static. I mean, most people, right? You wonder if they're just like programmed robots, like in the Matrix, where they don't even exist, right? You know, because there's only so many people you can actually like talk to. And unfortunately, the higher and higher you vibrate, the fewer and fewer people understand you. And if you're in a frame where you're going to be alone, then you'll be alone. If you're in a frame where you automatically find people, then you will.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as we want them to see us for everything they are, sometimes they just can't.
And that's okay.
Oh, that was great.
Leo,
Last question.
what is your question, Leo?
No, Jason, thanks for joining us. I actually do your coaching. Matt Haddad's my coach.
Awesome.
And I've been doing it for about 2 months. It's been very helpful, but this has been great because there's an opportunity that I've been a little scared. I was honestly just scared about and gonna let it go. Mm-hmm. And when you were talking about being, when you're uncomfortable, you're about to go to the next level frame, or thinking about risk. I started like completely relooking at my spreadsheet, looking at other angles, because I had like a one-track mind, and it's made me realize it's an incredible opportunity. And it was something I was going to talk to Matt about on Monday, but I think you pushed me in the right direction the past hour and 20. So just want to say thank you, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And Naaman, are you active military? I saw Naaman there. Where'd he go?
Yeah, he is. Let me see. Naaman
right?
just up to every single call. Let me see if he probably.
I just saw him pop up. If he's active military, he can have a free ticket to the my live event. Have him message me.
Cool. Yeah, he is
Anthony
usually,
as well. Anthony Espinal.
Anthony.
Yeah, that's me.
He just signed. Give me 1 second.
He's coming in.
I just let him in.
That's fine.
Naaman. Let me see. Naaman,
what's up, bro?
Where's he at?
Naaman, can you hear me?
Yeah, I just had to reconnect. I lost audio for a second.
All right. Well, Jason has something to tell you.
I said, Naaman, are you active military?
Yeah, I'm active duty right now. I'm on a 24-hour duty right now, CQ.
Okay. Where are you at? Where are you?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Well, if you want to come to my live event, I'll give you a free ticket.
Be there.
You can hear him. What's that?
I will be there.
And let me know if any of your other guys want to come. I'll see you.
Okay, will do. I'll shoot you a DM on Instagram.
Yes.
All right,
that is
perfect.
amazing. Thanks, Jason.
Active military, you get a free ticket.
Oh, I'm there.
September 19th, 16th and 19th. Thank you.
19. That's awesome.
It's an honor and a privilege.
Cool. All right, guys. So we have 5 minutes. Well, from the time. Any last minute questions? That will end it early because I know Jason can go for. What about retired military?
Retired mil, you get a discount. We'll see. We'll see how many active we are. Message me.
Jason, how can we help you as Rat Race 2FI, as our community? How can we help you?
You already are. Every time I tell these conversations, like today, this talk we had helped me get some content clear for the live event. So you are helping. I would say, if this content is valuable, help people get access to it, right? The easiest way to access this content, I'm doing less and less one-on-one coaching because of just the business has grown so much. The Mindset Academy is something that we've been doing. And I actually do this with Brandon Turner. So there's a call every Tuesday. There's a 30 to 60 minute call. Most of them are 45 minutes, but every Tuesday there's a call. And twice a month I do coaching. In the Mindset Academy, I'm talking about topics like this. They're Zoom webinars, so it's mostly one way because there's quite a few people on there. So it's just my video. And that program used to be $6,000 a year for that program. But this month we dropped the rate down to $197 a month. So if you're interested in joining the Mindset Academy, $197 a month. And if you actually join, you actually get access to all previous 6 months content. There's already 25 hours of content in there. If you join before tomorrow, there's a new mini course I created you'll get access to for free. And you also get access to the client community. So, and there's a 3-month minimum on that. So it's $197 a month for 3 months. So
awesome.
If you're active military or retired military, I will give you a discount on the Mindset Academy, but you can't do everything for free. You got to invest. Otherwise it'll limit your exchange on it. So
yeah. Name it. There you go. Name it. Send me a message. And yeah.
All the military people message Diego or Andres and then have them collaborate it, collect it, and send it over.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, Jason, thank you very much. Andres, we'll end it here. Anything that you want to say, Andres?
No, well, I mean, this is the most people we've had. So, I mean, it's just a testament to the great things that we've heard. And oh my gosh, a lot to dissect. I'm sure a lot of people will rewatch this. Thank you so much for your time, Jason. I know it's valuable. And yeah, I mean, thanks tenfold for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome, everybody. And watch this again. The really cool thing about this content is you can always get something deeper out of it. There's more because there's always another level of understanding. So it's really a privilege and honor, and just go for it. Set your impossible target. Start in success. Number one thing, remember, success is a starting point. It's not a destination. You're an infinite being creating your reality. Whatever your alignment with, you will get. So go do something amazing.
Jason, thank you very much. This was an amazing
my
call.
friend.
We'll let you go and then we'll end it up here. If there's anything, Jason, that we can do, Andres and I here in Austin or anybody with Rat Race, we're here to help. So we'll be in touch.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate meeting you all.
The Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place.